Hey, I want you to stop for a moment and think about yesterday. What made you angry? What frustrated you? What kept your mind spinning with worry? Now here's the mind-blowing truth I'm about to share with you. None of those things actually had the power to disturb you. Wait, before you click away thinking I'm crazy, hear me out. What if I told you that right now, in this very moment, you possess a superpower that most people never discover? The ability to remain completely unshaken by anything life throws at you. Not by pretending problems don't exist, not by numbing yourself, but by seeing through the greatest illusion humanity has ever believed. The illusion that external things can steal your peace. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how your suffering is like being afraid of your own shadow. Once you understand what I'm about to reveal, you'll never look at your problems the same way again. When you look at a clear lake on a calm morning, you can see straight to the bottom. Fish swim by, leaves fall on the surface, but the water itself remains unchanged. Your mind works exactly the same way. The first chapter of this lesson teaches us about the mirror of clear mind, that natural state, where you can perceive everything around you without getting emotionally tangled up in it. Think about it this way. When you look in a mirror, it shows you everything perfectly, but it doesn't hold onto any image. The moment you walk away, the mirror is empty again, ready for the next reflection. Your mind has this same quality, but we've forgotten how to use it. We see an angry person and we become angry too. We witness a sad situation and we carry that sadness for hours. But the mirror doesn't become red when it reflects a red shirt, does it? The second chapter reveals something even more powerful: the temporary nature of every single situation you'll ever face. Right now, think about something that was bothering you intensely just 1 year ago. Can you even remember what it was? Probably not, because like clouds in the sky, problems come and go. They seem huge when they're directly overhead, blocking out the sun, but they always move on. The sky itself never changes, just like your true self never changes, no matter what storms pass through your life. This brings us to the third chapter, the power of watching without getting involved. Imagine you're sitting in a movie theater. On the screen, there are explosions, people crying, dramatic music playing. But you don't run from the explosions or try to comfort the crying actors, because you know it's just a movie. The same thing can happen with your daily life. You can watch your thoughts and feelings like scenes in a movie, observing them without jumping into the drama. The fourth chapter teaches us about flowing like water instead of fighting like a rock. Water never argues with the shape of the container it's poured into. It simply adapts and finds its level. When you stop resisting what's happening around you, something magical occurs. You discover that most situations aren't actually problems at all. They're just situations. The problem was your resistance to them. The fifth chapter shows us how our fixed expectations create unnecessary disappointment. When you expect the weather to be sunny and it rains, who created the disappointment? Not the rain. It's just being rain. You created it by insisting reality should match your preferences. When you release these rigid expectations, you become free to appreciate what actually is, rather than suffering over what isn't. The final chapter of this first lesson reveals the most practical truth of all. You always have access to inner calm, no matter what's happening around you. It's like having a quiet room in the center of your house where you can always go, even when there's noise in every other room. This quiet space isn't something you need to create or earn. It's already there, waiting for you to remember it exists. Now that you understand how suffering is mostly an illusion, let's talk about something practical: how to actually stay balanced when life gets crazy. Because knowing something and living it are two completely different things, right? The second lesson is all about building your emotional muscles, just like you'd build physical muscles at the gym. The first practice starts with something you're already doing right now: breathing. But here's what most people don't know. Your breath is like a remote control for your emotions. When someone cuts you off in traffic or your boss sends that annoying email, your breathing immediately changes. It gets shallow and fast. But watch this. When you deliberately slow down your breath and make it deeper, your whole emotional state shifts. It's like having a reset button that works every single time. 3 slow, deep breaths can literally change your entire day. The second practice is about developing patience, but not the kind where you grit your teeth and suffer through things. Real patience is like being a mountain. Storms can rage around it, but the mountain doesn't hurry to make them stop. It knows that everything has its own timing. When you're stuck in line at the store, instead of checking your phone frantically, try being curious about what patience actually feels like in your body. You'll discover that rushing creates tension, while patience creates space. The third practice involves finding silence inside your head. Your mind talks constantly, commenting, judging, planning, worrying. But underneath all that mental chatter, there's a space of complete quiet. It's like being in a busy restaurant, but finding a peaceful corner where you can barely hear the noise. During your day, especially when things get hectic, drop into this quiet space for just a few seconds. You don't need to meditate for hours. Even 10 seconds of inner silence can change everything. The fourth practice is the most challenging, but also the most rewarding. When someone irritates you, instead of getting caught up in their behavior, try to see what's really happening underneath. That rude cashier might be having the worst day of their life. That aggressive driver might be rushing to see a sick family member. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat, but it means responding from understanding instead of reaction. When you do this, something amazing happens. You stop taking other people's behavior personally. The fifth practice teaches you to catch yourself making judgments. Your mind automatically labels everything as good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant. But what if you could experience things without immediately categorizing them? Rain isn't good or bad, it's just rain. Monday isn't terrible, it's just Monday. When you stop labeling everything, you free up enormous amounts of mental energy that was being wasted on unnecessary opinions. The sixth practice is about building a foundation that doesn't shake easily. Think of it like this. Some people are like leaves that blow around with every wind, while others are like trees with deep roots. You build these roots through daily practice. Not necessarily sitting in meditation for hours, but practicing these small moments of awareness throughout your day. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're making your roots stronger. Here's where things get really interesting. You've learned that suffering is mostly illusion, and you've practiced staying balanced. But now we need to talk about the space between what happens to you and how you respond. Most people think this space doesn't exist. Something happens, they react instantly. But there's actually a gap there, and learning to use this gap is like discovering you have superpowers. The first thing to understand is that between every trigger and every response, there's a moment of choice. It's like being in a car and seeing a red light ahead. You don't slam into the intersection. You have time to slow down and stop. The same thing happens with emotions, but most people are driving too fast to notice. When someone says something that normally would make you angry, there's actually a split second where you can choose your response. The key is slowing down enough to catch that moment. The second part is figuring out what pushes your buttons and why. Everyone has certain things that set them off instantly. Maybe it's being interrupted, or feeling ignored, or being criticized. These triggers aren't random. They usually connect to something deeper, like a fear of not being respected or valued. When you understand your own patterns, you can see them coming from a mile away. It's like knowing exactly which roads have potholes, so you can drive more carefully. The third element is learning the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is like a knee-jerk, automatic, immediate, usually emotional. Responding is like choosing which tool to use from a toolbox. Deliberate, thoughtful, usually more effective. When your teenager rolls their eyes at you, reacting might be snapping at them. Responding might be staying calm and addressing the real issue underneath their attitude. Same situation, completely different outcome. The fourth aspect involves making peace with the conflicting voices in your head. You know how sometimes part of you wants to say something sharp, but another part knows you should stay quiet. Instead of getting caught in this internal war, you can learn to listen to both sides without being controlled by either. It's like being a wise judge who hears all the arguments before making a decision. You acknowledge the angry voice. You acknowledge the calm voice. Then you choose which one gets to speak. The fifth component is about caring without being attached to outcomes. This might sound confusing, but think about it like this. You can love someone deeply without needing them to behave exactly how you want. You can work hard on a project without your happiness depending on whether it succeeds. It's the difference between holding water in cupped hands versus trying to grip it tightly. One way, you can enjoy the water. The other way, it slips through your fingers. The sixth and most powerful element is developing control over your habitual reactions. Every time you pause instead of react, every time you choose calm over chaos, you're literally rewiring your brain. It's like creating new pathways through a forest. At first, the old reactive paths are like highways, wide and easy to travel. But every time you take the new conscious path, you make it stronger while the old reactive path gets more overgrown. Now comes the real test, taking everything you've learned and making it work in your actual life. Because let's be honest, staying calm during a meditation is one thing, but staying calm when your internet crashes during an important video call is completely different. This final lesson is about making inner peace your default setting, no matter what's happening around you. The first application is learning to see every annoying situation as practice. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start thinking, "Perfect, another chance to stay calm." That traffic jam becomes your training ground. That difficult coworker becomes your teacher. It's like turning your entire life into a gym where you're constantly building your peace muscles. The more challenges you face with calmness, the stronger you become. The second application happens in your relationships, and this is where most people struggle the most. When someone you care about is upset with you, your natural instinct is to defend yourself or attack back. But what if you could stay completely centered while they're having their emotional storm? Not cold or distant, but genuinely calm and present. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat. It means being so stable that you can actually help them find their calm too. The third application involves creating small rituals throughout your day that bring you back to center. Maybe it's taking 3 deep breaths before checking your phone. Maybe it's pausing for 5 seconds before walking through any doorway. These tiny moments of awareness might seem insignificant, but they're like anchors that keep you connected to your inner calm. You're literally training yourself to remember peace in the middle of busy life. The fourth application is about how you communicate when you're centered versus when you're reactive. When you speak from calmness, your words carry a different energy. People listen differently. Conflicts resolve more easily. It's not about what you say. It's about the state you're in when you say it. Even difficult conversations become easier when you're not trying to win or prove anything, but simply sharing truth from a peaceful place. The fifth application deals with how other people's opinions affect you. Right now, someone somewhere probably has a negative opinion about you. Maybe they think you're too quiet, too loud, too serious, too casual. When you're truly centered, these opinions become like weather reports from distant cities. Interesting maybe, but completely irrelevant to your day. You stop needing everyone to understand or approve of you because your peace doesn't depend on their validation. The sixth and final application is about staying connected to what really matters when small problems try to take over your attention. When you're worried about a work deadline, it's easy to forget that you have people who love you and a roof over your head. When you're frustrated with traffic, you might forget that you're healthy enough to drive and have somewhere important to go. Keeping perspective means remembering that most of what we stress about won't matter in 5 years, but our peace of mind matters every single day. Look, I just shared with you 4 powerful lessons that can completely transform how you experience life. But here's the thing, knowing this information isn't enough. You need to practice it, live it, make it part of who you are. And honestly, you're going to forget sometimes. We all do. That's why I want you to save this video. Come back to it whenever you need a reminder of your own inner strength. If this message resonated with you, if you felt something shift inside while watching, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Not just because it helps the channel, but because it means you're committing to this journey of inner peace. You're saying yes to becoming the kind of person who doesn't get knocked off balance by every little thing that happens. And here's something really important. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You know that friend who's always stressed? That family member who gets upset over everything? That coworker who seems to carry the weight of the world? Send them this video. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is show someone there's another way to live. Your peace can inspire their peace. And that's how we change the world, one calm person at a time.